The throne room was bigger than any building Taemin had seen on Earth. The walls stretched up so high that clouds formed near the ceiling. Giant windows showed different worlds, blue planets, red deserts, green forests. All of them belonged to the dragons now. Taemin stood in the middle of the room. Heavy chains hung from his wrists. 2 dragon guards stood beside him, each one tall enough to step on him like a bug. Their scales shined like metal in the light that came from everywhere and nowhere at once. Hundreds of dragons filled the room. They wore fine clothes made from materials that didn't exist in nature. Some looked human-shaped but with scales and horns. Others kept their full dragon forms, massive bodies that could swallow a car whole. They all watched him with eyes that glowed like fire. At the front of the room sat the throne. His throne, the one he spent 3 years building. It looked like someone had carved it from a piece of a dying star. Blue and white light pulsed through it like a heartbeat. Crystals grew from its arms and back, each one connected to systems across the entire empire. When someone sat on it, they could see everything, control everything, speak to anyone across 1,000 worlds. Crown Princess HFY sat on the throne. Her scales were black as space itself. Her eyes burned gold. She wore a crown made of metal that humans couldn't even name. When she moved, the air around her seemed to bend. She looked at Taemin the way someone might look at a tool. Not with hate, not with love, just with use. A dragon in red robes stepped forward. His voice boomed across the room. "The human slave who built the crystal throne stands before you, Your Highness. He has completed his task. The throne works perfectly. It connects to every system in the empire, just as you commanded." Princess HFY smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. "Bring him closer." The guards pushed Taemin forward. His chains rattled. Each step echoed in the huge room. He could feel hundreds of eyes on him. Some dragons looked bored. Others looked hungry. A few looked curious, like he was an interesting animal at a zoo. He stopped 10 feet from the throne, close enough to see every detail of his work. The quantum processors hidden in the crystal structure. The communication arrays disguised as decoration. The power systems that drew energy from dimensions humans had only theorized about. Close enough to see all his secrets. "Kneel," Princess HFY said. Her voice was quiet, but it filled the room. "Kneel before the throne you built. Kneel before your master." The room went silent. This was tradition. The empire had rules. When a slave finished a great work, they knelt before it. They admitted that even their best efforts belonged to the dragons. That they were nothing but tools in dragon hands. Taemin had watched this ceremony dozens of times. He'd seen other humans kneel. He'd seen engineers cry as they acknowledged that their life's work would carry a dragon's name, not their own. He'd seen the pride drain from their eyes. He'd always known his turn would come. But standing there, looking at the throne, Taemin thought about something his teacher had told him 15 years ago. Bora was an old woman, a human who'd been a slave for 50 years before Taemin was even captured. She taught him engineering. She taught him to survive. One night, working late in the engineering bay, she'd whispered to him, "They think we build for them, but we build for us. Every machine, every system, every line of code, we leave ourselves inside it. We build our freedom into their chains. They just don't know it yet." Bora died 2 years ago. A reactor accident. Or that's what the dragon said. Taemin knew better. She'd refused to put a weapon system in a children's hospital, so they killed her and called it an accident. He thought about her now, about everything she'd taught him. Taemin looked up at Princess HFY. He didn't kneel. "I built your throne," he said. His voice didn't shake. "Every circuit, every molecule, every quantum state. I know it better than you ever will." Gasps echoed through the room. Dragons stirred. Some stood up. One roared. Princess HFY's eyes narrowed. "You dare. The question isn't whether I'll kneel," Taemin continued. "The question is whether you understand what you're sitting on." He raised his chained hands. With one finger, he touched a small device hidden under his sleeve. It was simple tech. Nothing the dragons would bother scanning for, just a basic transmitter. The throne began to glow brighter. The crystals pulsed faster. Patterns of light raced across its surface, patterns that only Taemin recognized. His signature, his code. Princess HFY tried to stand, but the throne held her. Not with force, just with response. It recognized its creator's command above all others. "What did you do?" she demanded. I built in a truth, Taemin said. The throne knows who made it. It knows who understands it. You can sit on it. You can use it. But it will always know that I built it, and so will you. The dragon in red robes moved toward Taemin. Kill him! Kill him now for this insult. But Princess HFY held up one hand. The dragon stopped. She stared at Taemin with a look he couldn't read. Anger, yes, but something else too. Curiosity, respect, fear. How many? She asked quietly. How many what, Your Highness? How many systems have you done this to? How many things in my empire have your hidden codes? Taemin smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. The first real smile he'd worn in years. All of them, he said. Every major system I've touched in 15 years. Your ships, your weapons, your communication networks, your power grids. I've left myself inside all of it. Not backdoors, improvements. Things that make them work better. But they only work best when they remember who built them. The room erupted. Dragons roared. Some called for his death. Others demanded he be tortured until he revealed everything. The noise was deafening. Princess HFY stood. This time the throne released her. She walked down the steps toward Taemin. Each step made the floor shake slightly. She was powerful enough to crush him with one hand. Everyone in the room knew it. She stopped right in front of him. So close he could see the patterns in her scales. So close he could feel the heat radiating from her body. You could have hidden this forever, she said. You could have knelt today, played the obedient slave, and kept your secrets. Why reveal it now? Taemin met her eyes. Gold meeting brown, fire meeting earth. Because Bora told me something before she died, he said. She said that humans have one advantage over dragons. We know we're going to die. We know our time is limited, so we're not afraid to use it. You think you're going to die today, HFY said. It wasn't a question. Probably. But every dragon in this room now knows the truth. Your empire runs on human genius. Your power sits on human innovation. You can kill me, but you can't unkill that knowledge. And tomorrow, when your systems start asking questions you can't answer, you'll wish you'd treated us better. For a long moment, Princess HFY said nothing. The room held its breath, then she smiled. It was a different smile than before, colder, sharper. No, she said. You're not going to die today. She turned to the guards. Take him to my personal quarters. Put him under maximum security. No one touches him without my direct command. She looked back at Taemin. You want to play games with me, human? Fine, but we're going to play by my rules. You're going to show me every system you've compromised, every code you've hidden, every secret you've buried in my empire, and then we'll see who built what. The guards grabbed Taemin. As they dragged him away, he looked back at the throne one last time. It still glowed with his signature code. A reminder to everyone in the room, he'd built their throne, but he'd built it his way, and that changed everything. The cell they put Taemin in wasn't really a cell. It was a room in the princess's tower, with windows that showed 3 moons rising over the capital city. The bed was soft, the walls were clean, but the door was locked from the outside, and guards stood watch every hour of every day. On his 3rd day there, Princess HFY came to visit. She wore simpler clothes than before. Still expensive, still made of materials that cost more than a small planet, but no crown, no ceremonial robes. She looked almost human in shape, except for the scales that covered her arms and the way her eyes still burned gold. We're going to the engineering complex, she said. You're going to show me these improvements you claim to have made. Taemin stood. And if I refuse? Then I'll have my engineers tear apart every system you've touched until they find what you did. It will take years. Many things will break. People will die, but we'll find it eventually. She walked to the window. Or you can show me now. Prove that your work is as good as you claim. Maybe I'll even let you keep doing it. You'd trust a human to keep building your systems? Taemin asked. HFY turned to look at him. Trust? No, but I'm not stupid. You're right about one thing. You do understand these systems better than anyone else. Better than any dragon. That makes you valuable, and I don't waste valuable things. The engineering complex was a city unto itself. Massive towers reached into the sky. Each one housed different projects, weapons, ships, communication systems, power generators. Thousands of humans worked there, all of them slaves like Taemin, all of them brilliant, all of them trapped. Taemin saw faces he recognized as the guards marched him through the halls. Other engineers. Some he'd worked with for years. They looked at him with wide eyes. Everyone had heard what he did in the throne room. Everyone knew he should be dead. One face stood out. Da-un. She worked 2 floors below him, designing navigation systems for the fleet. They'd been friends since the early days. She was one of the few people who knew what he'd been planning. Their eyes met for just a second. She gave the smallest nod. The message was clear: keep going. Don't break. We're with you. They brought him to the reactor control room. The reactor powered half the capital city and most of the orbital defense platforms. It was one of Taemin's earliest projects, built 12 years ago, when he was still learning what the dragons wanted. Princess Haewon stood beside him at the main console. Dragon technicians filled the room, watching everything he did. Show me, she said. Taemin pulled up the reactor's operating parameters. Right now, the reactor runs at 72% efficiency. That's what your technicians see. That's what all the readings show. He typed in a command sequence. The display changed, but it's actually running at 98% efficiency. I built in hidden optimizations. Better energy flow, smarter cooling systems, reduced waste. The reactor produces 40% more power than your readings show. One of the dragon technicians gasped. That's impossible. We would have noticed. You only notice what I let you notice, Taemin said. I wrote the monitoring software. I designed the sensors. I know exactly what information reaches your displays. Princess Haewon stared at the numbers. Her expression was hard to read. Why? She asked. Why make it better if we wouldn't know? Because I'm an engineer, Taemin said. I can't help but make things work properly. It's not in me to build something broken just because you wouldn't notice. Besides, the extra power keeps this city running. Without my improvements, you'd have blackouts every week. People would die. Human people, a dragon technician muttered. Who cares? Taemin turned to look at him. Dragon people too. This reactor powers your hospitals, your schools, your homes. When I make it better, everyone benefits. That's what you don't understand. You think humans only care about humans? But we care about the work. We care about doing things right. They visited 7 more facilities that day. Each time Taemin showed the same thing. Systems that worked better than the dragons knew. Ships that flew faster. Weapons that hit harder. Communication networks that reached farther. All because of improvements humans had hidden in the code. By the end of the day, Princess Haewon was quiet. She dismissed the technicians and guards. Only she and Taemin remained in the last control room, surrounded by blinking lights and humming machines. My father built this empire over 3,000 years, she said finally. He conquered 100 worlds, enslaved 50 species. Dragons are the strongest, the smartest, the most powerful beings in this part of the galaxy. She looked at Taemin. But we haven't invented anything new in 1,000 years, have we? Everything advanced in this empire came from someone we conquered. We take. We don't create. You're starting to understand, Taemin said. Don't mistake this for sympathy, Haewon snapped. I'm trying to understand the problem. If my empire depends on human innovation, I need to know how deep that dependency goes. All the way to the bottom, Taemin said. Every ship. Every weapon. Every computer system. Humans built them. Humans maintain them. Humans improve them. You could kill every human tomorrow, but within a year your empire would start falling apart. Within 10 years you'd be back to the technology level you had before you conquered Earth. Is that a threat? It's a fact. You wanted to know the truth. That's the truth. Something beeped on one of the consoles. Taemin glanced at it and his heart jumped. It was a hidden alert, one he'd set up years ago. Someone was accessing the emergency communication network, the secret one he'd built for humans to talk to each other across the empire. He kept his face blank. But Haewon noticed something. She always noticed. What is it? She asked. Nothing. Just a routine system check. She walked over to the console, studied it. Taemin had cleared the alert, but she was smart. Too smart. You have a network, she said. It wasn't a question. A hidden communication system. For humans to talk to each other. Taemin said nothing. How long? She demanded. 10 years. 10 years. You've had a secret communication network for 10 years and we never knew. She laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. What else don't we know? Everything, Taemin said. You don't know anything about us. You see humans as tools, as property. You never bothered to learn what we think, what we feel, what we want, and that's going to be your downfall. Haywan's eyes flared. For a moment, Taemin thought she might kill him right there. Her hand went to the weapon at her belt, but then an alarm went off. A real one, not one of Taemin's hidden alerts. Red lights flashed throughout the control room. A dragon's voice came over the speaker. "Your Highness! Emergency at the orbital platform. We're losing power to the defense grid." Haywan ran to the main console. Taemin followed. The display showed the problem immediately. The orbital defense platform was failing. Not quickly. It would take another hour before it completely shut down. But it was failing. "Is this you?" Haywan demanded. "Is this your network doing this?" "No," Taemin said. He was already checking the system logs. "This is a real failure. Something's wrong with the main power coupling. Then fix it." "I can't, not from here. Someone needs to go to the platform itself." More alarms. More alerts. The platform was failing faster now. "Your Highness," another voice said over the speaker. "There are 300 civilian workers on that platform. 200 of them are dragons. If the platform loses power completely, they'll have no life support. They'll die." Haywan looked at Taemin. Really looked at him. Taemin could see her thinking. He was valuable, yes, but he was also dangerous. If she sent him to fix the platform, he might cause more damage. He might escape. But if she didn't send him, 200 dragons would die. "If I let you go fix this," she said slowly, "will you come back?" "Yes." "Why? Why would you come back to captivity?" Taemin met her eyes. "Because 200 people will die if I don't fix this. I told you, we care about the work. We care about doing things right. That includes saving lives. Even dragon lives." For a long moment they stared at each other. Then Haywan made her decision. "Go," she said, "and fix it. Save them." She grabbed his arm as he turned to leave. Her grip was strong enough to bruise. "But if you betray me," she said quietly, "I will hunt you down. I will find everyone you care about. And I will make sure you watch as I kill them all. Do you understand?" "I understand," Taemin said. They sent him up in a fast ship. It took 30 minutes to reach the platform. By the time he got there, the power was at 15%. People were panicking. Dragons and humans both, all of them realizing they might die. Taemin went straight to the engineering bay. Found the problem. A power coupling had overheated and fused. Simple fix, really. 30 minutes of work, he fixed it. Power came back online. Life support stabilized. People stopped panicking. And then Taemin did something he hadn't planned. He went to find the human workers on the platform. There were 100 of them. Engineers, technicians, maintenance workers. He gathered them in a storage room where the dragons couldn't hear. "Things are changing," he told them. "I can't explain everything, but I need you to trust me. Keep doing your jobs. Keep improving the systems. Keep leaving your mark in the code. But be ready. When the time comes, we're going to need everyone." They understood. They'd all been waiting for something like this. For someone to finally stand up. For someone to say that things could change. Taemin returned to the capital. True to his word. True to his promise to Princess Haywan. She was waiting for him in the engineering complex. When she saw him step off the ship, something changed in her expression. Surprise, maybe, or respect. "You came back," she said. "I said I would. You could have run. You could have used the confusion to escape." "Where would I run to?" Taemin asked. "This is your empire. Every world, every station, every ship, you control it all. Running would only delay the inevitable." He stepped closer to her, close enough that the guards tensed, hands on their weapons. "Besides," he said, "I'm not interested in running. I'm interested in changing things, and I can't do that by hiding." Princess Haywan studied him for a long time. Then she did something that surprised everyone in the room, including Taemin. She ordered the guards to remove his chains. "You're still my prisoner," she said, "but I'm not going to treat you like property anymore. You've proven you have value beyond your skills. You saved 200 dragon lives today. That matters." She turned to leave, then paused. "Tomorrow," she said, "you're going to show me everything, every hidden system, every secret network, every improvement you've made, and then we're going to figure out what to do about it." After she left, Taemin stood in the engineering bay rubbing his wrists where the chains had been. For the first time in 15 years he was unchained. It was a small change. But small changes had a way of becoming big ones, and Taemin was very good at engineering change. The message came through Taemin's hidden network 3 weeks after his chains were removed. It was from Daun, but the words weren't hers, they know. They're coming, help. Taemin's blood went cold. He was in his new quarters, still a prison, but a nicer one, working on system diagrams for Princess Haewon. The message appeared on a screen only he could see, hidden in code that looked like normal system operations. He stood up, walked to the door. The guards outside looked at him questioningly. I need to see the princess, he said, right now. They found her in the war room, surrounded by holographic displays showing fleet positions across the empire. General Wu Jin was there too, a massive dragon with silver scales and cold eyes. He'd never liked humans, never trusted them. Your Highness, Taemin said. I need to speak with you alone. General Wu Jin growled. You don't give orders here, human. It's about the hidden networks, Taemin said, looking at Haewon. Something's wrong. Haewon studied his face. She'd gotten better at reading him over the past weeks. She could tell when he was lying. Right now he wasn't. Everyone out, she said. Your Highness, Wu Jin started. Out. Now. When they were alone, Taemin showed her the message, explained what it meant. Taeyun was in trouble. The dragons had discovered the human communication network. They were rounding up everyone involved. How many humans are part of this network? Haewon asked. Thousands. Every major facility has at least a dozen. They coordinate work, share information, help each other survive. That's not all they do, is it? She wasn't stupid. She never had been. They're planning something, resistance, maybe rebellion. Taemin didn't answer. Didn't need to. The truth was written on his face. Haewon turned away, looked at the fleet displays. General Wu Jin has been investigating human activities for months. I told him to back off. I thought I had time to figure out how to handle this properly. But he must have found something. And he's not the type to wait for my approval. She turned back to him. If I don't act, he'll arrest thousands of humans. Execute the leaders. Destroy everything you've built. But if I do act, if I try to stop him, I'll be fighting against my own military. Against dragons who think I've gone soft on humans. What are you going to do? Taemin asked. Haewon walked to the window. Outside, the capital city glowed with lights. Millions of people. Humans and dragons living side by side, or at least existing side by side. I'm going to make you a deal, she said. Give me the network, all of it. Every name, every location, every piece of hidden code. In exchange, I'll protect them. No arrests. No executions, just supervision, monitoring. That's still slavery, Taemin said. Yes, but it's better than death. Before Taemin could answer, alarms blared. Red lights flashed. The door burst open and General Wu Jin strode in, followed by armed guards. Your Highness, he said, not bothering with the usual formality. I'm taking command of the security forces. By order of the Emperor. Haewon's eyes flared. My father gave you no such order. He did. 1 hour ago. The human threat has grown too dangerous. We're implementing emergency protocols. Wu Jin smiled, showing teeth like knives. All human engineers are to be arrested immediately. Those who resist will be terminated. He pointed at Taemin. Starting with that one. Haewon stepped between them. No. Your Highness, with respect, I said no. Power radiated from her. The air grew hot. Her eyes blazed brighter. Taemin is under my personal protection. You will not touch him. Then you're a traitor to your own kind, Wu Jin said. You've let this human manipulate you, make you weak. But that ends now, he signaled his guards. They moved forward. Haewon didn't hesitate. She struck. Not to kill, she was still a princess, still had some restraint, but to stop. Her power slammed into the guards, sending them flying across the room. She turned to Wu Jin. You just tried to arrest me, she said quietly. That's treason. No, Wu Jin said. That's loyalty. Loyalty to the Empire, to the old ways, to everything your father built before you started questioning it. He reached for his weapon. But before he could draw it, every light in the room went out. The holographic displays died. The entire building lost power. In the darkness, Taemin's voice was calm. I just shut down the entire capital power grid. Every system, every building, every streetlight. The only things still running are emergency life support and this hidden network you were so worried about. Emergency lights flickered on, red and dim. How? Wu Jin started. I told you. I built everything. I can break everything. Taemin looked at Haewon. The power will come back on in 5 minutes. That's how long it takes for the automatic restart protocols to kick in. Protocols I can't override remotely. He turned to Wu Jin. In those 5 minutes, you can arrest me. Kill me even. But the moment I die, every system I've touched starts failing. Slowly at first, then faster. Your ships won't fly. Your weapons won't fire. Your cities will go dark. Permanently. You're bluffing, Wu Jin said. Try me, Taemin said. They stared at each other in the red emergency light. Then Haewon spoke. General, I'm giving you a direct order. Stand down. Return to your post. We'll resolve this situation properly. I take orders from the Emperor, not from a princess who's forgotten what she is. Then you're relieved of duty. Haewon's voice was steel. As of now, you no longer command anything. Guards, her personal guards, rushed in. Loyal to her, not to Wu Jin. They surrounded the general. Wu Jin looked at Haewon with something like pity. You've chosen the wrong side, princess. When your father hears about this, you'll regret it. Let him hear, Haewon said. I'll tell him myself. They took Wu Jin away. The power came back on just as Taemin had said it would. The room returned to normal, but nothing was normal anymore. Haewon sat down heavily. For the first time since Taemin had met her, she looked tired. Human almost, what have I done? She said quietly. You made a choice, Taemin said. A hard one, but the right one. My father will see this as treason. Protecting a human over a dragon, General? Choosing your survival over the Empire's security? She laughed bitterly. He'll never forgive me. Then don't ask for forgiveness, Taemin said. Ask for change. Change? Haewon looked at him. You mean revolution, rebellion, war. I mean evolution, Taemin said. Your empire is dying. You know it, I know it. Every human in this galaxy knows it. Dragons haven't innovated in 1,000 years. You conquer and you take, but you don't create. Eventually that catches up with you. He sat down across from her, but it doesn't have to end in fire. You could change the system, reform it, make it something better, something that doesn't need slaves because it values everyone's contribution. You're talking about freeing millions of humans, giving up control of half the Empire's workforce. My father would rather burn everything down than allow that. Then we don't ask him, Taemin said. We show him he has no choice. Before Haewon could respond, another message came through. This one wasn't hidden. It played on every screen in the room, in the building, in the entire capital. Emperor Kyungsu's face appeared. Ancient, powerful, absolutely furious. Citizens of the Empire, he said. I have grave news. My daughter, Crown Princess Haewon, has been compromised by human manipulation. She has betrayed her own kind to protect a slave. She has attacked a loyal general who was following my direct orders. Haewon stood, staring at her father's image. Therefore, the Emperor continued, I am removing her from succession. She is no longer my heir, and if she does not surrender herself and the human traitor within 1 hour, I will be forced to take action against her by force. The message ended. Silence filled the room. I'm sorry, Taemin said. I never meant for this to happen. Haewon turned to him, but instead of anger, her face showed something else, determination. No, she said. This was always going to happen. I just didn't want to admit it. She walked to the window again, looked out at the city. My father built an empire on fear and force. It worked for 3,000 years. But times change. The universe moves forward. He refused to see it. She looked back at Taemin. You asked me what I'm going to do. I'll tell you. I'm going to fight. Not against humans. Not against change. Against the old ways that are killing us all. That's a war, Taemin said. A civil war. Yes, Haewon said. But maybe it's a war that needed to happen. Maybe it's the only way to move forward. She held out her hand to him. Will you help me? Will you risk everything, your network, your people, your life, to build something better? Taemin looked at her hand. He thought about Bora, about Daun, about every human who'd suffered under dragon rule, about all the people who would suffer if this war went wrong. But he also thought about the possibility, the chance, the hope that maybe, just maybe, things could change. He took her hand. Let's build something better, he said. Outside, the first ships of the Emperor's fleet appeared in the sky. Coming to enforce his command, the war had begun. The war lasted 3 months. 3 months of ships burning in space. 3 months of cities choosing sides. 3 months of an empire tearing itself apart. Princess Haewon commanded the Third Fleet. Loyal dragons followed her, younger ones mostly, who'd grown tired of the old ways. but also some humans now armed and fighting alongside dragons for the first time in history. Emperor Kyungsu commanded everything else. The First Fleet, the Second Fleet, most of the planetary defense forces. He had more ships, more soldiers, more firepower. But Haewon had something he didn't. She had the humans who built those ships, and they knew every weakness. Taemin stood in the command center of Haewon's flagship watching the battle displays. Another skirmish, another victory, but they were running out of time. "We can't keep this up," he said to Haewon. "Your father is going to do something desperate soon, and when he does, a lot of people are going to die." "I know," she said. "That's why we need to end this now." She brought up a new display. It showed a fortress. Not just any fortress. The Emperor's personal stronghold, the Eternal Citadel, built inside a controlled black hole, protected by technology from a dozen conquered species, the most secure place in the Empire. "We're going there," she said. "We're going to confront my father, end this war before it destroys everything." "That's suicide," Taemin said. "The Citadel has defenses I helped design. I know how strong they are. We'll never make it through." "Then it's good you're coming with us," Haewon said. "Because if anyone can get us through those defenses, it's the person who built them." They assembled a strike team, small, fast, 50 people total. Dragons and humans working together. Among them was Daun. She'd escaped the initial arrests and joined the rebellion. Taemin had tried to convince her to stay behind, stay safe. She'd laughed at him. "I didn't survive 15 years of slavery just to hide when things get dangerous," she'd said. "Besides, you'll need someone to watch your back. You always were too focused on the big picture to see what's right in front of you." The journey to the Citadel took 2 days. They had to use every trick Taemin knew, every backdoor he'd built into the navigation systems. They slipped past patrol fleets, avoided detection grids, moved through space like ghosts. When they finally reached the Citadel, Taemin understood why people called it eternal. It existed partially outside normal space, wrapped in gravitational fields that bent reality itself. Getting close to it made his head hurt, made his eyes see things that shouldn't exist. "The first defense layer is automated," he told the team. "Weapons platforms that fire on anything unauthorized. I built in a recognition code. It should let us pass, should?" Haewon asked. "I built it 10 years ago. There's a chance your father's people found it and changed it." They approached slowly. The weapons platforms activated, locked onto their ship. Charged their weapons, Taemin sent the code. For 5 seconds, nothing happened. Everyone on the ship held their breath, then the weapons powered down. The platforms moved aside. They were through. "First layer down," Taemin said. 6 more to go. Each layer was harder than the last. Energy shields that could cut through steel. Gravity wells that crushed normal ships. Scanner fields that detected any biological presence. But Taemin had helped design them all. He knew the gaps, the weaknesses, the little mistakes he'd left behind years ago, hoping he might need them someday. They made it through 5 layers. But at the 6th, they ran into a problem. This defense was new. Something Taemin hadn't built. Something he didn't understand. "It's a consciousness field," Daun said, studying the readings. "It's scanning for specific brain patterns, looking for the Emperor's direct descendants. Anyone else gets fried." "Which means only Haewon can pass through," Taemin said. They looked at each other. The unspoken question hung in the air. "I'll go alone," Haewon said. "No," Taemin said. "We came this far together. We're not splitting up now." "Then what do you suggest?" Haewon asked. "This field can't be tricked. It's reading actual genetics," Taemin thought. There had to be a way. There was always a way. Then he had it. "Daun, remember that biosync technology we worked on 5 years ago? The thing that lets one person's biosignals piggyback on another's?" Daeun's eyes widened. "That was experimental. We never tested it properly, and it only works for a few minutes before the sync breaks down." "A few minutes is all we need," Taemin said. "We sync with Haewon. The field reads her genetics, thinks we're all her. We pass through. And when the sync breaks down inside the Citadel?" Haewon asked. "Then we're inside already," Taemin said. "We deal with whatever comes next." They set it up quickly. Daeun found the old equipment. Haewon agreed to be the anchor. 10 people synced to her biosignature, including Taemin. The sensation was strange. Taemin could feel Haewon's heartbeat overlapping his own, her breathing pattern matching his. For a moment, they were almost the same person. They passed through the consciousness field. It worked. They were inside. The citadel was massive, corridors that twisted through impossible spaces, rooms that existed in multiple dimensions at once. At the center they knew was the Emperor's throne room, and beyond that something else, something Taman had heard whispers about but never seen. The true power source of the citadel. They found it in a chamber deep below the throne room, a massive crystalline structure pulsing with energy. But it wasn't just a power source. It was alive, or had been. Those are minds, Daon whispered. Consciousness patterns. Thousands of them. Trapped in the crystal, Taman moved closer, studied the readings. She was right. The citadel was powered by enslaved minds, a cybernetic species the dragons had conquered centuries ago. The Emperor had taken their consciousness and used it as a battery. He's been using them for 500 years, Haiwan said. Her voice was hollow. My father did this. Enslaved an entire species, not their bodies. Their very souls. Taman reached out, touched the crystal. Immediately information flooded into his mind. The enslaved minds recognized him. Recognized a kindred spirit, another prisoner, another slave who understood what it meant to have your work, your thoughts, your very self used by someone else. They showed him things. The Citadel's true defenses, the Emperor's final weapon, and the way to destroy it all, but there was a cost. If we free them, Taman said, pulling his hand back, the Citadel collapses. The black hole it's built around becomes unstable. Everything within a light year gets pulled in. How long do we have? Haiwan asked. 10 minutes. Maybe 15 if we're lucky. Enough time to get out. For most of us. But someone has to stay. Someone has to coordinate the release. Make sure these minds get free properly, not just scattered into oblivion. Silence fell over the chamber. Everyone understood what that meant. Dayun stepped forward. I'll do it. No, Taman said. Dayun, you don't have to. Yes, I do. She smiled at him. You're going to rebuild the Empire. Turn it into something better. You need to be alive to do that. But someone has to free these souls. Someone has to give them the chance we never got. Let me do this. Let me do one good thing with my life. Taman wanted to argue, wanted to find another way. But there wasn't time. And deep down he knew she was right. He hugged her. Thank you, he whispered. For everything. Take care of them, she said. All of them. Make sure we didn't suffer for nothing. They left her there, rushed back through the corridors. Behind them, alarms started blaring. The Emperor knew they were there now, knew what they'd done. They ran into him at the throne room entrance. Emperor Kyungsoo stood in his full dragon form. Massive, ancient, more powerful than any being Taman had ever seen. His scales were gold. His eyes burned white hot. Daughter, he said. His voice shook the walls. You betray everything I built. Everything our family created. For what? For slaves? For humans. For the future, Haiwan said. She shifted to her dragon form too. Smaller than her father, but no less fierce. A future where we don't need to chain others to be strong. Then you're a fool, Kyungsoo said. And I will not let you destroy 3,000 years of progress, he attacked. Father against daughter, old ways against new. The battle shook the citadel. Taman and the others could only watch, helpless against forces that could level mountains. Haiwan fought well, but her father had 3,000 years of experience. 3,000 years of battles. He was winning. Then the citadel shook. Not from their fight. From below, Dayun had started the release. The enslaved minds were breaking free. Power fluctuated. Systems failed. The Emperor's stronghold was coming apart. What have you done? Kyungsoo roared. What I should have done centuries ago, Haiwan said. I freed them. All of them. Your empire was built on suffering. Now it ends. The Emperor turned to Taman. This is your doing. You corrupted my daughter, turned her against her own kind. No, Taman said. She chose this herself, because she's smarter than you, strong enough to admit when something needs to change. Kyungsoo moved toward him, but before he could strike, the floor gave way. The black hole was pulling everything in. The citadel was collapsing. Go, Haiwan shouted to Taman. Get everyone out now. Not without you. I'll follow. I promise. But someone has to hold him here. Keep him from escaping. If he survives, this war never ends, Taman understood. She was going to sacrifice herself to stop her father, to end the old ways forever. You better keep that promise, he said. He ran, led the others back to the ship. Behind him, he heard the sounds of battle. Father and daughter. Fighting to the end, they made it to the ship. launched just as the citadel began its final collapse. Taman watched through the viewport as the fortress fell into the black hole, taking with it 3,000 years of dragon supremacy. And at the last second, just before the event horizon claimed everything, a single dragon form burst free, flying faster than should be possible, racing ahead of destruction itself. Hey won. She'd kept her promise. She made it to the ship. Collapsed inside, exhausted, wounded, but alive. Is it over? She asked. Taman looked back at where the citadel had been. Nothing remained. Just empty space and freed minds finally at peace. Yes, he said. It's over. The old empire is gone. Then let's build something new, Haewon said. 6 months later, Taman stood in the throne room again. But everything was different now. The room looked the same. Same high walls, same impossible windows showing distant worlds. But the feeling had changed. Where once there had been fear, now there was hope. Where once there had been silence, now there was conversation. Dragons and humans filled the space. Not as masters and slaves, as equals. Some still struggled with the idea. Old habits died hard, but they were trying. That's what mattered. The throne still sat at the front of the room, the one Taemin had built. But Empress Haewon, no longer just a princess, rarely used it. She preferred to walk among her people, to hear their concerns directly, to prove that power came from service, not from sitting high above everyone else. Today was special, though. Today was the first meeting of the new council. Representatives from every species in what was now called the Galactic Commonwealth. No more empire, no more conquest, just cooperation, or at least the attempt at it. Taemin watched from the side as they gathered. He'd been offered a seat on the council, chief engineer of the Commonwealth they wanted to call him, but he'd refused. There were better people for that job. Younger humans who hadn't spent 15 years as slaves, people who could look forward instead of back. He'd agreed to be an advisor, to help rebuild the systems properly, to make sure that this time they built things that respected everyone who used them. You're thinking too loud, a voice said beside him. Taemin turned. Haewon stood there, not in her ceremonial robes but in simple clothes. She looked tired. Being an empress was harder than being a princess, it turned out. Especially when you were trying to reform an entire civilization. Just remembering, he said. 6 months ago I stood in this room in chains. Today I stand here as a free man. It's hard to believe sometimes. Do you regret it? She asked. Everything that happened? The war? The people we lost? Taemin thought about Daun, about Bo-Ra, about all the humans who died fighting for freedom, about the dragons who died too on both sides of the conflict. I regret the cost, he said, but not the result. Change was necessary. It just came at a price. A heavy price, Haewon said quietly. Sometimes I wonder if I made the right choice. Turning against my father, starting a civil war, all those deaths. You saved more lives than you took, Taemin said. The old empire was dying. It would have collapsed eventually. You just helped it transform into something better instead of destroying itself completely. A bell chimed. The council meeting was about to begin. Haewon straightened her clothes, put on her empress face. But before she walked away, she touched Taemin's arm. Thank you, she said. For everything. For believing change was possible. For helping me see it too. Thank you for listening, Taemin said. The council meeting lasted 4 hours. Taemin watched from the observation area. It was messy. People argued, disagreed, raised their voices. But nobody was killed for speaking their mind. Nobody was punished for having an opinion. That alone was progress. They discussed trade routes, technology sharing, educational programs, how to help species that were still recovering from centuries of enslavement, how to integrate the freed cybernetic minds into society, small things and big things all mixed together. One dragon representative stood up, old, traditional. He'd fought for the emperor during the war, but had agreed to join the Commonwealth after. I have a concern, he said. We're giving humans and other species access to advanced technology. Military technology. What's to stop them from using it against us? What's to stop another war? The room went quiet. It was a fair question, a scary one. A human representative stood up. Young. Someone who'd joined the rebellion during the war. You're right to worry, she said. But here's the thing. When you kept all the power, when you enslaved us, you created enemies. We had to be your enemies to survive. But now we're partners. We build things together. We share the risks and the rewards. Why would we attack you when we benefit from working with you? Another dragon spoke up. She's right. I fought in the war, saw what humans can do when they're desperate, but I also saw what they can do when they're free. They saved dragon lives, healed dragon wounds, built better ships than we ever could. Not because they had to, because they wanted to, because it was the right thing to do. The old dragon sat down. He didn't look completely convinced, but he was listening. That was enough for now. After the meeting, Taemin walked through the capital city. It had changed too. Human businesses were opening. Mixed neighborhoods where dragons and humans lived side by side. Schools where children of all species learned together. It wasn't perfect. There were still problems, still prejudice, still fear on both sides. But it was better. Every day a little better. He stopped at a memorial. They'd built it in the center of the city. A tall pillar with names carved into it. Every person who died in the war. Dragon and human both. No separation. No hierarchy. Just names. Taemin found Daeun's name. Touched it gently. We did it, he whispered. We built something better. Just like you said we would. A small human child ran past, chasing a dragon child. They were playing some game, laughing together. Their parents, one human, one dragon, sat on a bench nearby talking like old friends. That's what they'd fought for. That simple moment. Children playing. People talking. A future where your species didn't determine your value. Taemin's communicator beeped. A message from HFY. Need your help with something. Come to the engineering complex. He headed there, wondering what new problem had come up. There was always something. Systems that needed fixing. Disputes that needed mediating. Compromises that needed engineering. But when he arrived, HFY wasn't looking at a problem. She was looking at a design. Plans for something new. I want to replace the throne, she said. The one you built. It's beautiful, but it's a symbol of the old ways. One person sitting above everyone else. I want something different. She showed him the plans. Not a throne. A round table. Large enough for 100 people to sit around it. With space for representatives from every species in the Commonwealth. No one sits higher than anyone else, she explained. No one's voice matters more. Just equals working together. Taemin studied the plans. They were good, smart, symbolic in all the right ways. What do you want from me? He asked. I want you to build it, HFY said. You built the old throne. Now build the new one. Build something that represents what we've become, not what we were. Taemin smiled. I'd be honored. It took 3 months to build the table. Taemin worked with a team of engineers. Humans and dragons together, they built it from materials donated by every member species of the Commonwealth. A physical representation of unity. They built in no hidden protocols this time. No backdoors. No secret codes. It was just a table. Beautiful and functional and honest. On the day they installed it, they held a ceremony. The old throne was moved to a museum. A reminder of the past. A warning not to repeat it. The new table was unveiled. Representatives from across the Commonwealth came to see it. They sat around it, testing it out. Talking. Planning. Dreaming of the future. HFY stood beside Taemin as they watched. You know what the best part is? She said. What? No one has to kneel anymore. Taemin laughed. That's definitely the best part. Later that night, Taemin received a strange message. It came through channels he didn't recognize, encrypted with codes he'd never seen before. When he decoded it, his eyes went wide. The message showed a star map. But not the Commonwealth, not any space they'd explored. Far beyond, hundreds of civilizations they'd never contacted, some enslaved, some free, all watching, and a simple message. We've been watching. We've been waiting. Your test is complete. Now comes the real challenge. Humanity proved it can break chains. Can it help others break theirs too? We'll be in touch. The message ended with coordinates. A meeting point. Far beyond Commonwealth space, Taemin showed it to HFY. They stood together looking at the star map. At all those civilizations waiting. What do you think? She asked. I think we just finished building one new world, Taemin said. And now someone's asking us to help build 100 more. Are we ready for that? Taemin thought about everything they'd been through. The chains. The rebellion, the war. The rebuilding. All the pain and all the hope, I don't know, he said honestly. But that's never stopped us before. HFY smiled. True. We're good at figuring things out as we go. They looked out the window at the city below, at the humans and dragons living together, at the memorial to those who'd died, at the children playing in the streets. We should tell the council, Taman said. Let them decide. It's their commonwealth now. Their choice. Good idea, Haywan said. Democracy is hard, but it's worth it. They walked back toward the throne room, the council room now. Behind them, the message kept displaying its map. All those worlds, all those possibilities. Taman had once been ordered to kneel before a throne he built. Now he walked freely beside the person who once sat on that throne. Together, they'd torn down an empire and built something better in its place. The universe was offering them a new challenge, a bigger one. More worlds to help, more people to free, more systems to build. It would be hard. It would be dangerous. People would probably die, but it would also be worth it, because that's what humans did. They built things. They solved problems. They looked at chains and saw opportunities for freedom. They looked at empires and saw chances for change, and they never, ever stopped trying to make things better. Taman glanced back one more time at the old throne in its museum case. The throne he'd built with hidden protocols. The throne that had started everything. It sat there, still beautiful, still powerful, but empty. Just a reminder of what they'd overcome. He smiled. I built your throne, he whispered, to the memory of that day. But we built something better together. Then he turned and walked toward the future, and the future was waiting.